Welcome back to The Street on BNN. Well, imagine your next delivery of office supplies coming through the air. Our next guest is partnering with Staples to test delivery of packages by drone. Joining us is Tony DIBENEDETto. He's Chief Executive Officer of Drone Delivery Canada, and he joins us right here in the studio. It's great to have you here, Tony.
Thank you very much to have me.
So the company is now getting ready to test some drone deliveries at a site in southern Ontario. Tell us a bit about that, and then tell us where this might be going longer term.
Sure. So we launched the business in 2014, really to bring this type of technology to Canada and see where we could utilize drones as a logistics solution for Canadians. Today we're testing in Kitchener-Waterloo area. Our university research partners at Waterloo and University of Toronto, they're helping us roll this program out.
And my understanding is that if there are customers out there who one day might get their deliveries by drone, they are likely now living in rural areas. A little less complicated to deliver something out in farm country than it is in the middle of a city, correct?
Sure. Well, we've been working very closely with all different kinds of stakeholders, including the federal government, Transport Canada. And the strategy for us is let's learn how to take baby steps together, literally crawl, before we start walking or running. So our strategy is to deploy first in rural communities. There's over 1,000 of these remote communities that exist in Canada. Launch there, prove out the technology, get our stakeholders actively involved, including Transport Canada. And then as the technology evolves and everyone becomes a lot more comfortable, bring it closer to more of an urbanized center.
So what are some of the hurdles that you need to overcome, and do you have target dates to achieve those hurdles?
Sure. So we literally have been running at warp speed. This past year, I think it's about 5 years worth of work into one. We just achieved the first flight status certificate from Transport Canada to allow us to commence commercial testing in Kitchener-Waterloo, as I mentioned. That's visual line of sight. Our next major milestone is to move to beyond visual line of sight, which Transport Canada has created 2 test ranges in Canada. One of them is in Foremost, Alberta, and the other one is in Alma, Quebec. So we're going to be moving there in the spring to Foremost and work with Transport Canada to test BVLOS.
Mm-hmm. Tell us a bit about your partnership with Staples Canada. Have they committed funding to this, for instance?
No. So we're funding the entire project ourselves. We're fully capitalized and ready to commercialize. We've been, I've built a lot of different businesses over the years. This is probably one of the most unique ones where our phones don't stop ringing with large enterprise, Crown Corps, corporate clients calling. So Staples is the first that we've publicly announced, and there's many more coming. We're simply looking for the right partners to test the technology with and see how it falls within their supply chain.
How committed are they if they're not committed financially?
They're very committed. All our partners, they're looking this as the future of where this technology is going. You're seeing this type of technology happening around the world. Canada, we want to bring Canada to the forefront of this type of technology and make it a global leader.
So where does Canada stand now in terms of this technology? Are we behind, or who are the global leaders now?
Canada was leading. Over the past little bit, they kind of fell behind with other countries around the world. But we're working very closely with Transport Canada, and we want to bring Canada to the forefront of this technology. Mm-hmm. Canada has a very unique geography and a very unique challenge, specifically with remote communities. And we think this is a perfect test bed for a global solution. Starting Canada's backyard.
Is it possible, do you think, that someday drones could be delivering to residential addresses in big cities like Toronto? Is that feasible?
For sure, 100%. The technology is there. What we're simply doing is we're catalyzing all these different techs. The universities have been working with this type of technology for years, since 2010. University of Waterloo has been taking icebergs in the Arctic using drones. So we're simply looking at the space. It's a George Jetson type platform. We're putting it all together. We're listening to all the stakeholders, Transport Canada, and with safety in mind, and building it out, and it will be a reality. You'll have a pizza here in a few years.
Would I be correct in assuming your company is not profitable right now, that you're not?
No, we're pre-revenue.
Right.
We're the first drone company in Canada to go public, our drone logistics company in Canada to go public. We went public in June, and we're fully funded to commercialization.
What would the model look like in a profitability scenario? What would your relationship with customers be like?
It's a contracted, reoccurring revenue business. We operate as a managed service. It's a highly sticky, high EBITDA type business, very, very scalable, very elastic, and very profitable for our shareholders.
And what's the timeline to profitability? Do you have a view?
Yeah, we anticipate 2018. Once we receive our final certificate from Transport Canada, we'll be running full steam ahead.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you ever so much.
Fascinating story. That's Tony DIBENEDETto. He's Chief Executive Officer of Drone Delivery Canada. It's partnering with Staples Canada to test drone delivery.